The Eastern Mediterranean Sea, it's one of the most unique hotspots of life in the world because of the rapid change, the unique conditions, and the connection to history. There is no light in the deep sea, and there is no photosynthesis, which feeds plants and then most of life that we know at the surface. So this makes deep sea very, very strange. And mostly the food in the deep sea is very limited because of the lack of the sunlight. But there are some amazing places. I was always obsessed with biology and trying to understand how things work. And then at some point, I discovered how beautiful is the marine life. That's mainly while doing scuba diving and swimming off the beautiful shoreline of Israel. And as a scuba diver, I always wanted to see and discover what's happening in the deeper sea, deeper than the limits of scuba diving itself. We know that most of life on Earth depends on photosynthesis. That's how most of the plants gain energy and build their bodies. Yes, there is no light in the deep sea, and there is no photosynthesis, which feeds plants and then most of life that we know at the surface. So this makes deep sea very, very strange. And mostly the food in the deep sea is very limited because of the lack of the sunlight. But there are some amazing places where what's happening is a process called chemosynthesis. And chemosynthesis, it's where these chemicals that are emitted from the deep sea floor fuel life without. It's called chemosynthesis. All these places chemosynthetic ecosystems, and this kind of chemosynthetic ecosystems are basically, it's kind of a fancy way of saying these are places where life thrives in extreme, chemical-rich environments like brine pools or methane seeps, which we find here offshore Israel, and this is one of the highlights of my research. The sea became very important for Israel because of natural gas exploration and excavation. There are fields like Tamar and Leviathan, which were recently discovered, and they made Israel a country which is energetically independent and has its own energy sources, and that's great. And this kind of natural gas, sometimes it escapes naturally from the seafloor, and these places are called methane or cold seeps. These are the places where this gases bubble from the seafloor, fueling these amazing, unique ecosystems. They're unique and they're amazing. We are talking about very special animals, the ones that we don't find outside on land. These kind of animals include unique tube worms, mussels, other kinds of life, and most of these life forms are adapted to life in the deep sea due to symbiosis with unique bacteria. This kind of bacteria that actually can use these compounds which are emitted from the seafloor and the seeps, such as these strange chemicals, like methane. Methane is a very potent greenhouse gas which can cause climate change. And imagine these animals, they actually eat methane. That's amazing. They eat methane with the help of their little helpers, this bacteria, which can take up methane. No other life other than bacteria can take up these gases, can use these gases. For example, we as humans, we cannot, we will not be able to live in this kind of environment using this kind of food sources. We need always to eat something. But these organisms, they don't have, some of them, they even don't have a mouth. They don't eat. They only have these special organs that carry inside these microbes, often bacteria, which can use these compounds like methane or hydrogen sulfide. That's another very toxic compound to humans, for example. If you breathe hydrogen sulfide, we basically die. But these animals make use of it and they make wonders. They they grow, and they grow really, really fast sometimes. We learn how life in extreme environments thrives, how life adapts to different places on Earth, and actually maybe how it evolved in its origin, how life was firstly found on Earth. We can learn about how life may live in other extreme environments, maybe some extraterrestrial environments. We can think about fields like astrobiology. We can also learn how to better exploit these processes for our own good. For example, engineering crops or any other sources of our future food. So we have a lot of things to find based on this life, and even just understanding how what lives there is exciting, because we always find something new. Each time we go out to the sea, we discover some new life forms, new species, new forms of adaptation to the deep sea, new types of symbiosis. It's always super exciting. Yes, so most of the deep sea research now is done using deep sea robotics or manned submersibles, but mainly deep sea robotics. And this is what we actually do here using robotics, which are part of the Mediterranean Research Center and the University of Haifa. And this research in Israel started about 15 years ago now. And the first expedition to explore the deep sea happened here. It's actually really standing on the shoulders of giants. It was Robert Ballard, who is a really famous marine explorer, and together with Tzvi Ben Avraham, who basically established this type of research in Israel. And he is a real hero and a very important person in marine research here in Israel. And also, I need to remind the lab of Professor Itzhak Makovsky, with whom we collaborate really tightly, and he is a geophysicist who also leads marine exploration in Israel. In that time, Bob Ballard, he actually the person who discovered the Titanic, and he was the first one to find the hydrothermal vents in the deep sea. This is other type of very fascinating chemosynthetic ecosystem in the deep ocean floor. And he also was the one to find the Titanic. So his Nautilus ship arrived here, and in 2010 and 2011, it was me and Itzhak and Tzvi Ben Avraham being, actually, it was a huge privilege to be on this ship and start the first exploration of these unique habitats offshore.
So
we started to understand how to engage in deep sea research and what we can find. At that time, we only found, this was the first signs of this kind of gas seeps, methane seeps here in Israel. And now, actually very recently in 2021, already using fully Israeli infrastructure, including the ship, the robotics, we did the most fascinating discoveries, as we found brine pools next to these gas seeps in the deep sea. And brine pools, it's where these salty fluids come out of the sea floor. They are rich in methane, in hydrogen sulfide, really toxic, and they form this fascinating, it looks like a lake at the bottom of the sea. So these deep sea lakes, they are surrounded by chemosynthetic life. We find a lot of these amazing tube worms, mussels, all of them engage in chemosynthetic symbiosis. But also probably the most exciting discovery that we made here offshore Israel is that these hotspots of life attract deep sea sharks. They attract deep sea sharks to lay eggs. So we found astonishing nurseries of deep sea sharks, myriad of eggs, like millions of eggs, thousands of sharks, all come together, and we just see like a carpet of eggs on the bottom, and this really makes the seeps unique. And basically, being so unique, these seeps became a hotspot of even international interest, and now a lot of research is being done here by our group, but also in collaboration with other groups worldwide, trying to understand how these brine pools work and how these sharks, what do they do there, how they contribute to the ecology of these chemosynthetic ecosystems. And
Awesome.
brine pools, widespread, there are huge brine pools in the Gulf of Mexico, of America now, you're right. So there are huge brine pools. They've been explored quite a lot by American teams. And this one's also a fantastic spot of exploration and research. And here, in offshore Israel, we have also these brine pools. Israel, although it has quite a short coastline compared to the Gulf of Mexico, it's a very beautiful coastline, but also it has very unique conditions. For example, it's one of the fastest changing places, marine basins on Earth, because it's warming quite fast. There's a lot of infrastructure development. It has been warm and very salty already. The bottom temperatures, for example, here is about 15 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure how much is it in Fahrenheit, and that's much warmer than most of deep seas around the world. So these methane seeps, they develop under very unique conditions, and this is kind of unique laboratory for us to study the deep sea functions and processes and life. And what we have here is a unique laboratory to study marine life, marine functions, chemistry, marine processes. And it's amazing to have such a laboratory just a few hours away from our beautiful shorelines. We continuously collaborate with researchers from United States, from Texas, from other places. And we advance the knowledge of these habitats, mainly because, first of all, it's a unique place, very unique conditions, and a lot of research is being done right now here in Israel to highlight the functions and actually what happens in these unique habitats. And this matters globally. We have a very unique marine system. It's different from what you find elsewhere. It's basically a hotspot of activity, and it's like the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. It's one of the most unique hotspots of life in the world because of the rapid change, the unique conditions, and the connection to history. It was one of the ancient ship routes, and basically the ancient world was here, so it also provides a great platform for the research of history, archaeology, and this kind of knowledge. And also, and of course, from our point of view, I think that we are really at the forefront of understanding how this seep ecosystems works, because this natural laboratory is available to us, because we are doing fascinating research, because there are great people here who do this research and so researchers worldwide are very interested in what's happening here. It's because of collaborations and exchange of knowledge, but also because of understanding how unique these ecosystems are. For example, we have now a very large European project called Redress, and this project aims to preserve and restore marine ecosystems, those that have been damaged, especially those in the deep sea. And Israel has a unique place in this project. This is the only country which studies the cold seeps, as most of the other countries are involved mainly in preservation of cold water corals, because of the uniqueness of such ecosystems. And again, all of this community is really engaged and interested in what we are doing. Israel is very fast developing area, fast developing shoreline, fast developing deep sea, but also changing rapidly because of other effects, not only human-made, but based on the climate change and these kind of ideas. This area is warming quite fast. The temperatures are quite hot. The sea is different, and eventually our discoveries are unique. We found very unique places here. They have not been seen in such densities or in such activity globally, especially those of sharks. That's really amazing sight. And there are some videos recorded. So please visit the website of my lab, .org. Yes, my key collaborator, Itzhak Makovsky, he had to eat his head twice. Yes, because first thing, he didn't believe that we'll find brine pools offshore Israel. We already had some data which hinted at brine pools, but he said no. And then second time, when we observed this shark eggs on the seafloor, he just couldn't believe that we are seeing so many shark eggs. He said that this could be something different, and then he had to eat his head second time.
Yes.
So this methane or gas seeps, also called cold seeps, they are present all over the world. They're found at the margins of land, of continents, in the sea. They're basically everywhere. They're very important ecosystems. They're supposed to emit huge amounts of methane, a greenhouse gas, into atmosphere, but they don't. And that's because of this unique life, which is actually able to eat up this methane before it reaches the atmosphere. And that's on its own, it's amazing, and it's super important to sustain life on Earth. So these seeps are everywhere. And here we have a small hotspot, which we study in Israel, and hopefully contributing something important to the knowledge of the systems worldwide. The deep sea is really a last frontier. It's probably the least well explored place on Earth, and even we likely know more about the surface of the moon than we know about the deep sea. It's kind of a cliche, but it's still true. Although more efforts on exploration of deep sea are being made recently. And the deep sea is really a source of present day and future resources, energy sources. Maybe understanding the future and the present day chemicals that can help in medicine and also other discoveries. There is a huge place for discovery in the deep sea.